Have you ever wasted time trying to find your cabin on your cruise ship? Stay tuned to learn how to effortlessly navigate any cruise ship like a seasoned pro. Plus, we'll be revealing the secret to reading ship's maps and how elevators can be your best friend or your worst enemy. Trust me, you don't want to miss these. Understanding ship's layout. Every ship has ship's maps. I think pretty much every ship I've been on also has 3D maps. It's not just a flat map for you to look at. They also have ones that are basically, they look like the ship. And, it shows you which deck is where and which deck is which and common areas, okay? Most of the time, you're going to find ship's maps in two areas of a couple of major areas of the ship. At the elevators, 90+% of the people take elevators everywhere. They have maps available near the elevators. Take some time to figure them out, to look at them, to figure out where things are, okay? One thing you'll note, if you do see a 3D representation of the ships showing you decks, the miniature ship is pointing in the same direction as the ship. If you're looking at this 3D representation and the front of the ship is this way, by seeing that, you know that if you turn that way, you're going to go towards the front of the ship, towards the bow. Okay. Memorize key landmarks. The casino, the main dining room, pool decks, or, pool areas, the main showroom. Memorize where they are, what deck they're on. Are they in the front of the ship? Are they in the back of the ship? The reason I say memorize those is because, A, you go to them a lot. Even if you don't go to the casino a lot, memorize where the casino is, because those 3 or 4 major landmarks, 80% of what you're going to do every day on that ship, you can use those as navigation points. So say you want to go to the buffet, okay? Most ships I've been on, the buffet is near the main pool for whatever reason. So go to the main pool, and the windjammer in Royal's case is in the back of the ship past the main pool deck, okay? Things like that. Use those major landmarks to find your way. There are going to be unique landmarks around the ship. If you're on a Royal Caribbean Oasis class ship, there's a main promenade, and in pretty much all of those main promenades, there's a classic car. Find that, use that as a landmark. Okay, so if you know that you want to go to the British pub, all right, let's get to the car and then turn and look up. There's the British pub, okay? Elevator banks. Because so many people use the elevators for so many different reasons, the cruise lines have all done a really good job of putting signs at the elevators. Tells you what deck you're on, a lot of them will show you what decks are above you, which ones are below you, what's on your deck, the bow of the ship, what's on that deck in the bow of the ship. You use that information. Royal Caribbean is very famous for their day plates in their elevators. This isn't a navigation aid. This is just so you have some idea what day of the week is. So literally it'll say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that kind of thing. Stick around, because coming up we're going to be showing you a super easy trick to always find your room no matter how many times you've lost your way in the past. Divide the ship into sections. Forward, middle, back. Okay? Spend that first day compartmentalizing things into those sections. Casino. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the casinos are always built in the middle of the ship. The middle top to bottom, the middle front to back, and usually the middle left to right. Why is that? What do casinos use on the table games? Chips. Those chips are money. They don't want their money flying all around because they hit a bad wave or there's a little bit of rocking going on. So they always put those casinos dead center on the ship, in the ship. Well, I can't say always, but 99% of the time they're in the dead center. The casino's in the middle. So dining room, fore or aft, front or back. A showroom, front or back. Pool deck, pool deck takes up the whole deck, but solarium, the adult section, front or back. Compartmentalize. It makes it easier to remember. Use the cruise line mobile app. A lot of those mobile apps, they've got maps in them. Okay. Some of the really good ones actually show you where you currently are on that map. Makes it much easier to find your way. Interactive screens. Several of the cruise lines now have interactive screens stationed around, usually near elevators, where you can literally hit a button, say I want to go from where I am to the main dining room. And it'll show you a map. It'll say, okay, take the elevator down to deck 5, and go that way. This isn't so much a navigation thing as it is it is kind of navigation, but use your daily itinerary, whether it be the one on your phone or the one in your cabin. It helps you keep track of time and location, knowing where you are. So when you're sitting down, my wife and I will sit down and have a cup of coffee in the morning, and we'll plan what we're doing that day, whether it be a sea day or whatever. We try to plan things that are somewhat close together. I don't want to have to go from the solarium down to the casino, back up to, razzle dazzle on deck 10 or deck 8. I mean, it's not that big of a ship, but still, I'd rather plan things, if possible, plan things that are somewhat close by. Don't go anywhere, because in a little bit, we're going to dive into a hidden feature every cruise ship has that ensures you never get lost again. Asking for help. Another great way to not get lost. If you're not sure where you're going, if you're sitting in the dining room having dinner, and your dinner's over and your main waiter comes over to wish you a good night, and you don't know how to get to Razzle Dazzle, say, hey, how do I get here? Anybody that's got a uniform on, they know that ship like the back of their hand. They will tell you exactly how to get there. Don't be afraid to ask crew members for help. That's a big one. My biggest suggestion, tip, so that you don't get lost. That first day you get on board the ship, spend the day exploring. You're in port. You haven't left port yet, okay? Walk the ship. Top to bottom, front to back, left to right. Walk everything. Because a lot of times, once you see something, once you see where the casino is, it's sticking in the back of your mind. My wife and I like to get on board, do our muster, get a drink, and then get to the top of the ship and walk down. We get on, whatever the highest deck is, deck 16. We get up on the 16, we walk from the front of the ship to the back of the ship, walk down to 15, go from 15 from the back to the front, go down to 14, front to back. And, all the way down, until the promenade. We don't necessarily go down, below the promenade, because that's usually just cabins. But spend a couple of hours that day wandering around, getting lost on purpose. A, it gives you something to do. And B, if we spend a couple hours doing that, by the next day, I don't have any issue getting lost on that ship. Now that you know how to navigate the ship with confidence, let's talk about tips on what not to do on debarkation day. It's a game changer.